Hi there, I am Kululwa Motwa, and welcome to this episode of Property Market Moves. Today I'm sitting with Rali Mampeule, CEO of your AHIF and now African component of AHIF. I know when you're thinking of AHIF, I mean, it's like SAIBIB, South African Institute of, it just becomes such a long name.
Yeah.
Are you still going with the full?
Yes.
South African?
so it's AHIF. It's a shorter version that we call it South African Housing and Infrastructure Fund. So it's houses and infrastructures.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good to
thank you
be
for
here
joining
finally.
No, absolutely. We've been looking forward to this conversation.
Yes.
So before we jump into it, because I mean, I know you are, social housing and infrastructure, but I think we've seen that you've had quite a keen interest, on the tech side of it. And that's how we want to, would like to have today's conversation. But before we get in there, tell us, who is Rali?
Okay. I mean, Rale is a village boy. He's a township boy.
Okay.
He's a suburb boy. He's an international traveler. And I'm saying this because, I was born in a village in Mujaji, at the Royal Mujaji family in Limpopo, Zanin.
Okay.
And I grew up in Davidton, Networx. It's a township called Vuta. And obviously, funny enough, here where we are in Randpark Ridge, I end up going to Randpark High School to do my matric. I did my matric down the road here at Randpark High School. That's when I had a little bit of exposure of I'm a suburb.
From the villages to the suburbs.
From the villages to the suburbs. Then I further traveled later on. As you know, we did some stuff in Boston, at Harvard and stuff. So that gave us a little bit of exposure. So I like to say I'm an all-rounder. And that's quite great because I can be able to relate with different people that I meet in my life that come from different backgrounds. So that's Rali Mampeule. And so, I grew up in Davidton, and I did my studies at UNISA and later on, obviously, at Harvard. And I've been in real estate for the last 25 years now.
25 years.
Married with two beautiful sons, Letabo and Wachile. My wife, Mike, can say she's here with us here in Johannesburg as well.
Yeah.
So we've been together for a good, I must make a mistake. That's when I'm in trouble.
She'll be watching
We've been together for 25 years.
Okay.
Almost the same time that I've been in this industry.
Jeez.
So now in May, we're celebrating 15 years of marriage.
Okay.
But we've been together for 25 years. So I've known her for 10 years because we met as high school sweethearts.
Yeah. Okay.
So it took long for us to get married. It's not like I delayed the decision.
Well, I mean, if you met in high school, it makes sense, right?
Yes, but here we are now 25 years later. So looking forward and excited to see how we can still add value in the industry.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Now you've been traveling quite a bit and taking a keen interest in the tech side of property and construction.
Yeah.
What are some of the changes that you've seen to the traditional building technologies?
Yeah, as you travel around the world, I mean, you get to realize that actually sometimes you're booked into a hotel, and then when you get in, what you do, you go like this.
Yeah.
But everything looks great, and and then you ask around, what is this? And so you get to realize that innovation has got a serious element of sustainability.
Yeah.
Eco that we're also all talking about now, less carbon and, just keep the world cleaner. But beside that, things can happen fast with technology. Innovative construction, or what we call IBT, innovative building technologies, makes a big difference. I mean, if I tell you just down the road here in Rudeport, during COVID, we participated in donating 72 units within a space of 2 weeks, and we were able to accommodate about 300 heads that are staying there even now, which was supposed to be a temporary structure that's supposed to last for 2 years so that they can relocate the people that used to stay in the tents. We came in as AHIF, as the Mampeule Foundation. We donated this technology. And within 2 weeks, we had a new establishment and a new settlement in 2 weeks. So that's what technology can do for you. The people are still staying there. It's 5 years later. And I'm actually going to go see them now when I pass here because I'm in the area. I can tell you now that innovation is the way to go. We can be able to speed up the accelerating of delivery of affordable housing in the country.
And I mean, speaking to affordable housing, social housing, we know that there's a huge backlog, right? Government is struggling to keep up, I guess, with the demand. A lot of people have been on those waiting lists for the longest time. Do we see, and a buy-in on these, innovative development mechanisms, or are we still a little bit reluctant?
Yeah, it's actually a good question. So, I think we must always help our government, and the only challenges, but also the opportunities is that, whenever there are new people coming into the ministry, they all have their own thinking. I mean, right now we're told that we should build the innovative building technologies ourselves as the private sector, and let's talk to them after 5 years and see
how it goes.
But 10, 15 years ago, there are innovative building technologies that have been built in Pretoria at a center. So we have to restart again. I think what we need to do as a private sector is to assist our government by actually going and implementing. So private sector, entrepreneurs, we're here to solve the problems.
Yeah.
And I think how we can add value in working with our government is to actually go and implement with them. So we have partnered with a lot of people who are into the innovative building technologies and actually invested money into the ecosystem so that we can influence it to come to the more of the affordable housing space, because ABT or IBT, alternative or innovative building technologies, they are not necessarily the cheapest, but they're fast and they're durable, and they can be able, the quality is quite much better. Yeah. So we've invested in some businesses. I mean, there's one place where now there's about 26 units that have been built using wood in South Africa down the road here in Lanseria. Okay. Where you can go to Garden Country Estate. There are people living there already. They paid, just around 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million into a wooden house. It looks amazing. So, again, the speed is quite quick. So that's what we are trying to do and see how else we can work on really implementing IBT in South Africa. But we shouldn't force it to our people. We should build it. They must come and choose if they like it. And it shouldn't be that it's for the lower LSM. Yeah. It's really for anybody. I mean, if you look at McDonald's and Wimpy and Steers in some of these drive-thrus are built with ABT. Just saw one now on Allendale at Waterfall. There's a new shopping center coming up. The main shopping center is building with the normal brick and mortar. Yeah. Right next to there's 3 drive-thrus. They are open already while there's still construction in the back because they've used ABT. So this is some of the stuff that can happen quick. Okay. Yeah.
Now, from a government perspective, government that says, try it and then let's talk in 5 years. Yeah. Do you feel that the reluctance is on cost or on uptake? Are we ready to actually house people in these structures?
Yeah, I think social acceptance is a big thing, and we cannot ignore that. And I think government also, is an uncharted space. Yeah. So it makes sense if you're a DG to say, well, let's see and let's look after 5 years. Makes sense, but they should actually go to Rudolph to see that the people are still there. That is 5 years later. But I think it makes sense if I was in their position also to say, I'm just going to go and spend, 200, 300 million rand doing a new city using innovative building technology that I've never tried. Yeah. It could be a risk, right? So I think that's why we need to all see how we can minimize, share the risk. So it makes sense. But one of the things that we're doing, I chair a center at the University of Johannesburg. Yeah. It's a center that basically is looking at innovative building technologies of different ways. We brought in the first 3D print machine to South Africa, and we've built the first RDP type of a house that is standing at UJ. And now I think it's been 18 months going to 2 years. So it's still standing there as well. It's working. So that was also built within a couple of hours, actually.
Wow.
You know, at least the top structure.
Okay.
And then obviously you still had to then come in and put the different windows and other stuff that you need to put in. But that was another example that we've done. So we are saying, let's try something new that we've never done.
Yeah.
And see if it will work.
So going back now to universities, actually, in the qualifications, right? Because we've got students that have been and are still, studying the traditional qualifications, town planning, built environment, whatever qualification it is. Do you believe that we are already in the future in terms of those qualifications, or those students would be coming in still lacking, some of the nuances that are coming in now in terms of, these technological advances? From any institution, are our qualifications still building or a talent pool for the past?
Look, that's education that we are facing, and some of the challenges that we're facing, that obviously maybe some of the syllabus are not really updated. But I think one of the things that is happening is that there's a lot of there's short courses.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new technologies that young people are realizing themselves that maybe some of the stuff that they're learning at university may be outdated.
Yeah.
Right? But also, I think also the universities are now encouraging people to look at other alternative versus just a typical degree, whereby because they don't have space to accommodate the people. And again, innovative building technology, and I'll come back to your question, but also again, innovative building technology can help with student accommodation because some of the students don't have space and places to stay at these universities. And the universities themselves don't have enough space to have lecture rooms where we can look at options of innovative building technologies to make sure that those classrooms are there quicker and be able to accommodate more. So students are now diverting into studying new terms. So to give an example, at UJ, we are now training young girls, women, and youth, of course, into how to operate a 3D print machine. And we're seeing a lot of young women being very keen and really playing around with that machine.
Okay.
Putting the ink, which is like the cement of 3D print, we call it an ink, and actually building. So I think we had more than 60% of that house was built by women.
Sure.
So, so we are teaching new things out there.
Yeah.
So I think there are other paths and institutions that are teaching new things, and we need to also just sponsor young people to go learn more about innovative building technologies.
No, that's brilliant. And is that an extension to the curriculum or part of the curriculum?
Good question. So we've now put it as part of the curriculum.
Okay.
So we do it, we got short courses. One of the things that we do is it's a new sector that's actually quite huge, which is the building inspection. So in real estate, you really have, you'll know from Sabi point of view, there's a lot of opportunities within real estate. It's not just selling houses or being a developer. So one of the big opportunities now is property inspections. So we're training those people to be able to also go back and inspect how is the IBT and ABT doing. But also when you're buying or selling a house, you are able to get the same inspectors to come and look at the house before you can register it. So there are new ways and new careers that are being opened up, courses that are available at different universities, at least at UJ, we have that as well. Yeah.
Are there any technologies that you feel are like hugely underrated in terms of the difference that they can actually make?
Yeah, so I think generally in South Africa, there's a lot of lack of options in one or two things. For example, if you just go to Woolworths or any of this huge chain stores and you're looking for, I like hot food.
Yeah.
You're looking for something, a sauce, there'll be few.
Yeah.
If you go to places like Japan, there'll be like 300 of them, right? You get confused. So I think what we need to do is to just give the people choices. There are
Create
so
more
many
options.
Yeah. So I can't right now outline one innovative building technology that I say this is the best in town.
Yeah.
But how I can judge it is to say which innovative building technology has got more than 10, 20, 30, 40 units that is standing in South Africa, that has been there in the last 4 or 5 years. So one of the technologies that we've donated to the people of Rudeport, who are living in the tents, is still there, still standing. We did 72 of them in 2 weeks. There's another one now of wood technology where they're using panels at this estate that I just mentioned, that you can walk there in Lanseria and go see that's working.
Yeah.
The community, the school, the impact that the wood has on young children at schools. And that's why I'm saying we should use innovative building technology to also increase the classrooms, increase the lecture rooms.
Yeah.
When you're in a wood house or even a wood class, you just get to be in this environment where you feel relaxed. There are those impact. And the kids, I went to go see the kids at this country estate, and really they were just sitting there and just calm, and you smell the wood, but it still looks amazing. So I'll encourage a lot of people to go and look at the country estate gardens in Lanseria that has been built of wood and steel. It's amazing. So that's one of my best ones right now.
Yeah.
Of course, our 3D print, it's amazing as well.
I mean, I think as you're talking, I'm thinking about, we stayed, or rather our fathers and forefathers stayed in mud houses. Well, there was grass probably at some point, and then mud houses, and then we got into brick and mortar and just got stuck there. Yes. And now you're talking about wood, which is something, why are we struggling to embrace it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, the last time I traveled with the family, we went to one of these islands and it was beautiful. We stayed in a wooden house and I felt exactly what Arthur was telling me at this country estate garden, because I remember we stayed there and you pay a lot of money per night and you don't really think about it. So I think again, it's teaching ourselves, our people. I'm building my own house now in Zanin, using wood. And I'd like to share that one of the days with you and see how that goes and see how I'm enjoying it as well. So I know that within the space of 2 weeks, I'll live at home. If you go early, I don't know if you're booking a hotel. Yeah. Can be able to have a 3, 4, 5 bedroom home,
Wow. Okay. No, that's amazing. Yeah. And in terms of, you said that there's a bit of, cost in actually laying it out. Maintenance, is it any better? Is it the same? Is it still as expensive?
So we look at the ones that we did down the road in Rudeport. It's 5 years later. I went there, and one of the things I needed to do was the painting, which would be the same as your house. Yeah. I mean, at Waterfall in my house, I paint every 2 years. So maintenance will always be there, But the bottom line is to say that, do you want to live in an informal settlement and spend 20, 30,000 rand maybe putting up the shack? Or do you want to try something as beautiful as your studio here that you've used innovative build technology without seeing it probably? Look all over here, it's ABT, it's steel, it's wood. So we're saying that we can give people dignified home, and that's why we as AHIF, the South African Housing and Infrastructure Fund, we've just now launched what we call private sector informal settlement upgrade program. Okay. So private sector informal settlement upgrade. What are we going to do there? We are going to be in a position where we can go and actually change it street by street by actually building using technology where people are today. So you go to Ivory Park, you do a street, maybe people can actually move out of the unit in the morning, by 4, 5 o'clock, they have a new home.
Oh my goodness. How amazing is that?
Exactly.
That's just
Remember
brilliant.
when you used to watch these American shows where they move people and then they come with the panels and they put the wood and the house is done. You're moving in, there's everything.
You go to work in the morning and then you come back in the afternoon. You've got a beautiful structure.
Precisely. And we can make them affordable. So that's how we've invested in those in innovative building technology companies so that we can be able to influence that it goes down to where it's also really needed. Yeah.
Okay. So is tech changing the way we value property and probably influencing the investment decisions?
Yeah, I mean, so the beauty about technology is that you always have to catch up. You always have to catch up. There's always new technologies, but the banks are financing these houses. So the country gardens, the banks are financing the house. That means that they are NHBRC approved. Yeah. They've ticked SABS standards and all of that. So hence the banks are financing it. So once you see that the bank can finance you, then you know that they've done their DD as well on the opportunity. So yeah, I really think that's the way to go. I mean,
okay. Yeah. So the properties then that are built, say in wood, if you compare those to brick and mortar in that same location, would you find that the value of that property still comes out the same?
No, you see, that's exactly why the government is also saying that we don't know, right? Go and build them, let's see. So the only comparison that we can have is if you travel to other countries.
Yeah.
So in the US, if you'll see that that's exactly, it's the same. So if you use a brick and mortar or you've used a technology that, because there's different technologies, I mean, they seems to be at par, so we don't really have that stats because we have not built them for like 10, 15 years in South Africa. But there is one technology that of a company called Moladi.
Yeah.
Okay, with Henny. So Henny has built a house in 1987 in Benoni using innovative building technology. And that's still standing.
Jeez, 1987.
1987. So that's one of the examples that we can see. So please check out Moladi, because for us, there's no competition. We think it's the same thing as affordable housing. Yeah. We have over 2 million, 2.5, 2.4, depending who you speak to, of affordable or housing that we need to build for South Africa. We've got 50 million units of affordable housing that we need to build in the continent, and you got close 1 billion people in the world staying in shacks, basically in South African language. So anybody who is able to come up with these technologies to better the living of our people, it's very important that we support them. So Moladi is actually one of the ones that actually is there, that has been there from 1987, that is still standing proper. The house is valued the same as any of their neighbors.
Yeah.
Actually, the gentleman is from South Africa and Eastern Cape. He's building in Ghana. He's building in Barbados, different islands. And now he's been called to come and build in the US. But we have not really taken off on him, on affordable housing. And we don't know why here at home. So those are some of the things that we need to look at. So Henny actually is ahead of all of us because he's got a house that is built in 1987 that is still standing. He's built a lot of schools in the Western Cape as well. So we just need to embrace technology.
Okay. Yeah. We've spoken to carbon emissions, waste that is generated, through the built environment. How much of a difference is ABT playing in actually reducing that?
No, a huge space. I mean, if we talk percentage-wise, they were even talking about 30%, 30 to 40%. But the beauty about it is that there's a lot of opportunities for funding for that, for green building.
Okay.
So South Africa country is one of the biggest contributing countries in terms of a fund that really works on making sure that we can reduce carbon emission. And we are not claiming that in terms of So if you come on affordable housing and you start going to Tembisa and you're turning some of these units into using innovative building technology that speaks to the environment, you can actually get funding quite easily and be able to get discounts and be able to get the carbon emission points that you're able to trade with them to be able to be in a position where you are able to reduce the cost of building. So there's opportunities in green building. Green energy, green economy is a huge thing that we must look at also in our space as well. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about funding, and we know that that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for entry into the sector, especially for Black practitioners. And you are now saying that there are opportunities for funding that we're actually not tapping into because we just don't know about their existence, and we're not embracing these opportunities.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I think it's a topic on its own. But what I can say about it is that, again, technology is the way to go. So there are ways now where part of what we're looking, our people, or I wasn't part of it, but our people have spent 1.1 trillion rands on gambling in the last financial year. Financial year of 2024-2025 is there.
My goodness.
1.1 trillion was spent on gambling.
In the last financial
not just gambling,
year.
Online gambling. Why am I saying this?
Yeah.
We need to find a way, and I saw that you had a lady here who was talking to you about Stockfells. We need to find a way to say, using technology, how do we then tap into that 1.1 trillion that our people have spent and actually channel it into housing investment, infrastructure investment? The president wants 950 billion to do infrastructure development in South Africa for the next 3 years. He has it down the road here, in Alex, in Davidton, in Guguletu, because the people have shown us that if they're united, and there's so many people, even if I keep up my 10 rand, 20 rand, 50 rands, they have shown in 1 year 1.1 trillion on online gambling.
Oh my goodness.
So we need to use innovative ways of how do we then tap into that. So blockchain is becoming a huge thing. So I'm very passionate about technology, and I'm looking and say, how do we use blockchain to tap into that and be able to fund developments using those type of technologies? So that's something that we're also working on, that we can interlink into technology of construction.
And I know you've spoken to quite a few, innovations, right? In areas where that you have an interest in. If you were to invest in one tech, sector, what would it be and why?
I mean, we are investing as a fund into the fintech, but within housing. So our people, you'll know, that have built houses over a period of time. Minekaya, my parents have built a house over 5-8 years. My dad will send money to my mom in Limpopo. She'll then build incrementally. So we've invested in a fintech, in a financial business called Idladla Home Finance.
Okay.
And we are saying that Jabu, who paints my house, can be able to qualify for a loan of 50,000 rands, and he'll go and do a foundation. And then he'll come and paint your house and get 38,000 rands. He's able to come back, start paying that home loan slowly or that home finance. And then he's able to pay it over a period of time. Then he comes back and he borrows again, and he goes to a hardware store and buy material and build slowly, incrementally. So as I've indicated earlier on before we spoke, that as AHIF, we've put on the market about 68,000 land housing opportunities in the last 6 years as a fund. That means that our people are sitting with land that needs to be built, that they need to build, and they're struggling. So even with a rapid land release, the government of Gauteng alone has given about 18,000 service stands to South Africans. And I won't mention the number because I'm not their spokesperson, but there's a really low uptake in terms of people building. They don't have the money because they're unemployed. So we are coming out with a fintech opportunity where people can be able to borrow incrementally and build their houses slowly.
Okay. Idladla
home finance.
Home finance.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
So fintech. Yeah.
So fintech is
real
that
estate.
space.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a few questions from our last guest, and the first one goes: what advice would you give someone starting out in the development space?
I will say that it's great to look at bigger deals. You know, you want to be this big developer, commercial, you know, retail and everything. But one of the things that you can start at is looking at Amaru. So you'll see with the stats that we are having now in South Africa is that there's about only 1 million people that have got home loans in this country, which we know that the majority don't have. And if you look at that whole graph, the green part says that a lot of South Africans have paid off their homes. I can tell you that those are the houses in Soweto, in Tembisa and Guatemala, the old 4-room houses and maybe some of the RDP houses that our government have built in the last 30 years. Some of these old 4 rooms in Soweto and Guatemala have an opportunity for us to go back as young people who wants to get into development and start re-looking at and what Umastan is doing. I think that's where you should start as well, because you are able with 20, 30, 50,000 be able to start being a developer where you're building back room at the back engine. It is a 10 billion rand industry of Amaroom that Abu Kok are getting paid money every month, every year. 10 billion rand with no official big players, which is great because it's for our people. So I think that's where you should start. Go talk to your aunt who has moved out. There are some 4 rooms that I've seen in Davidson that are empty. You know, people have moved on, and then you're able to just take that and renovate it and build rooms at the back engine and be able to accommodate people. But when you're doing that, it's also important to look at how you then upgrade the infrastructure so that if there were only 10 houses in that street, now you're bringing 10 more people. Find a ways how you can partner with government or the municipality to increase the infrastructure. So I'll say start with Amaroom because it's an easy entry and the margins are quite great and funding is available.
All right. And then the last one, what are the top 5 skills one would need as an emerging developer?
I don't know. I don't know what I think. You know, I'm not yet there as a lecturer. I know I'm at the University of Johannesburg, and sooner or later I'll probably retire and go and lecture. So I don't have those 5 bullet points. But what I can say is that being a property developer is like being a conductor of music. Okay. You don't have to know everything. You just stand there and you say, you know,
you've got people who sing better than you.
Play the guitar. So people do that. It sounds good. Put it together because all you do is to get town planners, architects, quantity surveyor, and you putting them together to sing a song that you want them to sing, which could be to build a shopping center or to build a hospital. So it's not as scary as it sounds. So just get in there and just be a conductor. And then people will then give you the beautiful music of your shopping center. I think those are the 5 bullets I can summarize them at.
Well, I mean, I guess when you get in, you build up, you know, certain things, you pick up certain things, and as you're conducting that choir, you're getting better and better. But I totally agree. You put people together, but identifying an opportunity, perhaps, then that is one of the things that you need to, you know, almost like you have to be able to see something that other people are not seeing.
No, I totally agree. And, you know, you spot on. I mean, one of the things that I believe in is that you do not need money to make money in real estate. You do not need money to make money in real estate. A lot of us are still working hard and still a long way to go. But when we started in the industry, we had nothing. You hear stories all the time of some person maybe coming from Greece telling you that I came to this country with 100 Rand in my pocket, but they're now owning a huge portfolio somewhere in a small town in Free State. So there are ways that you can be able to be proactive and find ways to bootstrap yourself.
Yeah.
And I think we also need to just start looking and saying funding is available in South Africa, but let's try and bootstrap. And what do I mean by bootstrap? Try and get angel money. Try and get the auntie who can give you the house at risk, and then get another investor who can come in at a smaller scale. Try and be a pre-sale and be able to find ways to just bootstrap these things. I'll be honest with you, and I'm not trying to be funny here, is that I did my first raise of real capital maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been in the industry for 25 years. So, actually 6 years ago. But the point I'm trying to say is that for 20 years, I didn't do any raise from anyone, not because I didn't want to, but no one will give me money. So then I learned that when I wake up in the morning, I need to find ways on how do I bootstrap my own business. When I bought the Chairs Ever franchise here in Randpark Ridge, everything happened here in Randpark Ridge, and I'm here today as well. Bought a franchise here in Randpark Ridge.
Yeah.
I never had the money. I spoke to the late Charles Everett, and may his soul rest in peace. And I said, can you give me this franchise and I'll pay you over a period of a year? Then I went to my brother and Barry Davies, the CEO of Chairs Everett franchise.
Yeah.
I got $250 from them for working capital, and I opened that franchise in Midrand. And then I got a developer who gave me development that I sold. I made a bit of money, paid off Mr. Everett's franchise, bought my 2 partners out, and I owned the franchise myself. So those are some of the things that we need to look at, and that I call that bootstrapping. I don't know if as you just wake up in the morning, somebody will just give you money without a track record.
Yeah.
But now it's easier to then fundraise. So I think young people should look at bootstrapping as one of the options. Of course, if you can get funding, great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the challenges that we're facing, though, is that as we see more people doing it successfully, I don't know if that, creates an impression that it can be done, overnight. Because if you're saying, you've been growing, I guess, you're growing your business over years. And after 15 years, you suddenly then noticeable because you've been at it. And, we tend to overlook the 15 years that you've taken to build it. And we focus on the time that we actually saw you big. And we want that. Do you think that there's a sense of, impatience or high expectations and not prepared to actually take the longer route?
Yeah. You spot on once again. It takes time. Everything takes time. So as I'm sitting here, as I said, I've been in the sector for 25 years. Yeah. The young man outside was excited that I'm here with a great, beautiful lift of a car that I came with here. Yeah. Somebody gave me a lift. And he said, oh, that's a beautiful car. But it's 25 years later, so it takes time. So it's great for young people to also start early because it does take a bit of time. But of course, even at a later age, you can still get involved and be able to still make a difference. And now you can be able to easily digest and swallow patience, right? Yeah. So it really takes time, but eventually we get there. But we also learn from young people. I like to be involved with the Sabib young people. When I go and do these talks, I actually learn more from them. They don't know this. I learn more from them than I learn, from my kids, Letabo and Wachile. I learn so much, I'll go and try and put something on WhatsApp status and my son will be like, but Daddy, I can help you to do this video to look slightly nicer. So they already know stuff. And if you are willing to learn, you can learn. So I agree with you. It takes a bit of time, but just hang in there. But also if you find ways on how you can speed it up, maybe with technology, AI, maybe AI can also change things. But I think you're quite spot on. Everything takes time and you need to be patient, and we'll get there.
For young ones starting out, and they want to become a developer, they want to own a business, does it make a difference if they start employed somewhere before they build their own, or it really doesn't matter? So
again, a good one, because I'm of two schools on that. One is that if you've never worked, so I've never really earned a salary in my life.
Yeah.
Good or bad, it's been tough for me. By the way, there's been a lot of tough times, up and downs in this 25 years where things go the other way around. articles and this and this. So it's not just glory and glory and glory.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think is one of the schools that I'm talking about is that if you've never earned a salary in your life, you are used to bootstrapping, you're used to just surviving, you're tabalas, right? So therefore, you are able to build big and take risk because you've never experienced
the comfort.
Right? Then the other school also is to say, let me go get the skills.
Yeah.
So if you come from a corporate background,
sure,
public sector background, all of that background comes back to help you in your entrepreneur journey, whereby you now apply things better. What Rale has made as a mistake and he's lost money, made money, you are able to maybe avoid that because you've seen it happening with somebody else's budget, right? Investor's budget. And you now know that in my business, this is what I'm going to do. So I think whichever way you do and life leads you, it's not the one and final route. But once you're up and running as an entrepreneur, bring corporate people, bring people that are smarter than you, right? To help you to formalize your business. So I used to just sell land and we sell land and we add value, accelerate delivery of affordable housing. And then I partnered with Camille Keshav, who used to be the CEO of a listed company with CISA.
Yeah.
He came to join me. We started this fund, AHIF, and he was a CFO. He put the structure for me. Now I'm sitting here wearing a suit and sound like a smart guy who has a fund, right?
Yeah.
But it was put by other people that are smarter than me. So Rale is just a guy on the street that hustles and put things together. And then you find people that are smarter than you to formalize things for you that you can run a formal business. Now I know about exits, building business to be able to sell, diversify. We've invested in a lot of things like in fiber.
Yeah.
So again, in real estate is that when people come in, diversify your mind and your thinking. So as a developer, and for young people coming in, don't only look and say developer just going to put a shopping center, the buildings. No, there's a lot of things. There's utilities. You can invest in fiber. So as we build these houses, you got to put the fiber. What is the other opportunities? Gas. You put gas because you can be able to sell to the people. You put the solar. You invest in those businesses as well. So what we do as developers, we get, Metrofibre must come and install the fiber. This solar no, you must buy equity into those businesses. So part of what we've seen, and we didn't plan this, the business that we invested in as a fund, like Metrofibre, have actually given us higher returns that are unbelievable
than
compared to the development itself. So we bought into Metrofibre 6 years ago and we paid X amount of money. We are now having a 1.3 billion rand exit now this year, where Turbo Investment has put out an offer in another entity to buy us out. And we say we'll take the money and look at other ways on how we can be able to invest into infrastructure and other opportunities 6 years later. But the point I'm trying to say is that invest within ecosystem of property development, not just brick and mortar.
Okay, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I really think that was a good conversation. And hopefully the youth listening out there, well, even the old, really, because there's no time, you can still get in. I hope that you stuck with it to the end of this conversation and that you have been informed, you have been educated, and you have been inspired as you journey along your business journey or property journey. Thank you.